close eye on here on the Global Exchange in our Arabia 2.0 series. So where are we today, 2 years later on? And is it leading to economic development and, very importantly, job creation? Let's get a view on this from Mohamad Al-Ississ. He's from the School of Business at the American University of Cairo and a regular contributor here to the Global Exchange. Mohamad, nice to see you again. Welcome back. I want to talk to you about the Constitution here and the referendum put up for the vote and draw a comparison to the United States. It's very interesting with the analysis that you've done, that you have Alexandria and Cairo and those people, the secularists, voting against the Constitution, and those in the rural parts of the country basically voting in favor of the referendum. So it leads to the question, can the government be a government for all the people after the Arab Spring? It doesn't appear that way.
Correct, actually. Alexandria actually was predicted to vote against the Constitution based on their previous voting behavior and other socioeconomic details. Surprisingly, Alexandria voted with around 56% for the resolution, for the Constitution. Cairo, the biggest voting bloc, voted 57% against it. There seems to be a real division here in Egypt. A rural-urban division, educated, illiterate division, and also a religious versus secular division. The key point to be made is exactly the one you raised, John, which is in order for this government to face the immense challenging that is going to have to face very shortly, economically mainly, with the IMF loan and what have you, it needs a broad-based consensus. That broad-based consensus is really missing from Cairo's streets today. Let me give you an example. On Saturday, out of every 100 Egyptians, 30 of them participated in the constitutional referendum. Of these 30, only 17 voted yes, with 13 voting no. So you have a huge division here in Egypt, making it very hard to govern and move forward.
I want to make a bigger point here and the post-Arab Spring environment. We look at the map. So we covered off Egypt. I want to talk about Tunisia, where this all started. And the common link between all these countries, kind of bar Libya, which is going through a major rebuilding but has the benefit of oil. Youth unemployment still well above 20%. Projections for 2013, growth between 3 and 3.5%. It's about half of the pre-Arab Spring levels. So what are we looking at here? Another 3 to 5 years to get back to the pre-Arab Spring growth forecast so you can get the job creation that people are looking for?
I think for Egypt, it really is a question of uncertainty mainly. For Tunisia, also similar, which is, what is the path forward? How can we ensure as investors that our money will be safe in this country, that there will be no mass protest on the street as we've been witnessing in Egypt? So far, Egypt's developments have failed to provide that certainty going forward. If this trend continues and the past results which you described really indicate a continuation of absent broad-based consensus of moving forward, then I'm afraid that the path to moving beyond the current deterioration in the economic landscape will actually go beyond the short to the medium term of perhaps 3 to 5 years. Sadly, there's a real opportunity here. Egypt currently is undervalued, I would say, in terms of investment. If the political leadership realizes that they have to work together, that they have to reach concession, that none of them has a control over the voters' will, I think we can really speed that going forward and capitalize on it and provide to the people the demands, the economic demands that they started the revolution in search to a large extent for.
It's very interesting because that's what the market bet is right now. The stock market's up 46% in 2012. Let's bring our map back up and take a look at Syria, far to the right on our map here. And you can't have peace in the Middle East without a stable Syria. What did you make of the gesture here by the vice president calling for a grand settlement going forward? Can you actually get something like that?
Well, I'm afraid we might be either past or very close to the threshold through which reaching a settlement in Syria is not happening. What's interesting about the statement that was issued is it came on the heels of a few days after Russian officials expressed a similar sentiment about this war in Syria not being winnable by any of the parties. I think this is an important gesture. Whether the opposition will actually accept it, whether the opposition will actually be willing to let go of the persecution of the Syrian leadership, that will be an important determinant, and I would look forward in the coming few days for signals from the Syrian opposition to indicate a reaction to accept that settlement. One indication came from the recent meetings in Morocco, where the leadership of the opposition indicated their willingness to do so. However, what was missing from the Syrian official statements were, what about Al-Assad? What about a future role for Al-Assad? What about the officials? There are real interests in Syria that we've seen fighting very hard to maintain control over the country. It would be hard to see a scenario where these interests would accept a settlement and leaving everything they have on the table.
Okay, thanks very much for the analysis. Always a pleasure to have you. Mohamad Al-Ississ joining us, professor of economics and politics there at the American University of Cairo. Well, Venezuela votes for